Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, just got something I want to cover here because obviously we are in this bull run now and I am trying to make as much informative content as I can as we navigate this bull run, because I understand that obviously there's some people who are basically just new to the crypto space and some people who, just may not be as informed as others. So I just want to give I don't really want to say advice because, it's up to you in the end what choices you try to make, but I'm just giving you some information here to basically help arm you when it comes to this bull run, right? And in terms of taking profits and things like that. And so we've got here a guy on X who's called the Chinese Whale, and he says, we need to learn a lesson from this guy. Don't sell HBAR at this cheap price. Okay, and what is he referring to? He's referring to a post by Greg Scowen, and this was in 2011, right? And this is what he says. He says, I wish I had kept my 1,700 Bitcoin at 0.06 cents instead of selling them at 30 cents now that they're $8. Hashtag Bitcoin. Ouch. And funnily enough, I've seen this post before. It's very well known in crypto, right? And someone posted him. This was a few years back now, so it wasn't this bull run, but I think it was maybe the prior bull run, 2021 or something like that. And they messaged and just said, hey, is this guy still alive? And he actually replied. He said, still alive, but dead inside. And I thought that was funny. But yeah, I wanted to get into this topic, right? Because this is a tricky thing to navigate. And it's funny because I covered obviously something about this very recently where there was a guy who not long ago had sold their HBAR, all their HBAR. I think it was in October, if I remember rightly. And it just happened to be literally, you look at the chart and it's literally just moments away before it started rallying. And so with that, it was different because the reason why I was talking about selling in that instance, it's not that you're selling because you've made a good profit. It's selling out of frustration, right? It's I've waited too long. We're in a bear market. It's never going to go up. I've had enough. I'm going into something else. And then selling. And then, as you say, a bull run comes and everything's going up and you realize, damn, I should have just stayed in it, right? And so this is where this differs, because when you guys are in this bull run now, right? We're in a bit of a tricky situation because the thing is, we never know where the cycle top is going to be for HBAR. We don't know what the new price is going to be, right? So, you can go to analysts and, I've seen some analysts say, 80 cents. I've seen some analysts say $1. I've seen some say $5. I've seen recently $8, $12, right? Now, I've given my take on those on what I think is realistic and plausible. So I'm not going to get into that for this video. Just check out my archive if you want to see what I think. But in that regard, no one knows for sure. We can say what's realistic. Some of these numbers are just fantasy numbers, I will be honest, but we can say what's realistic and say, look, it could happen anywhere around these prices in terms of being, realistic and not over the top with hype. And so the problem is that, okay, no one knows where the top is, right? And so when it comes to selling, there's something that you've got to understand here. And there's a very well-known phrase by Warren Buffett, and that is that you will never buy the bottom and you will never sell the top. And so that's just kind of accepting that, hey, when you sell HBAR, it is very possible that it's going to go higher, right? Because, even if it goes up, a couple more cents, it's just not likely that you're going to have perfectly timed the sell at the right, the exact right point. And if you do, that is generally just pot luck. It's not, I know this is the right time to get out. It's okay, I'm going to take it now. And, oh, look, I just happened to be right. Now it's dropped down and whatever, I was right. Same for trying to buy at the bottom, right? You get people who want to time the market to buy at the perfect bottom so they've got it at the lowest price. But again, what could happen is you're there waiting for the perfect price, thinking it's going to go lower. And then what happens? It starts to move up and it goes massively high in price. And then you've missed out because, you was going to buy in, but the price has gone much higher. Now you don't want to buy in because you've missed the price. Do you see what I'm saying? And so the thing with this is in terms of saying don't sell HBAR at this cheap price. Okay, look, for me personally, I still think we've got a bit of a way to go in terms of this bull run. I don't think this is the end. So I do believe that HBAR has got longer to go in this market cycle. I think it's got more room to grow. But when it gets to a certain point, I can definitely acknowledge that I don't know at that point, like, where it's going to go. Like, once we get into like new all-time high territories, I don't know for sure what's going to happen. So I'm going to have to be very careful with how I do this and accept that, hey, I'm probably not going to get the perfect sell point, right? It's probably going to go higher. Or it could be that I'm waiting for it to go higher and then it starts to go lower, and then I have to say, oh, okay, I've missed out on the higher sell point, but I'll sell now at a bit of a loss. Like, I could have made more, but I'll just sell now so that I don't miss out completely and miss out on the whole run altogether. So the thing that you've got to understand with this, guys, is like, while I definitely understand that sentiment with what's been used in this post, you've got to understand, like, no one knows where this is going to go. So, like, you're going to have a lot of analysts when you get into this bull run and it's getting going. It's like, they're going to be telling you, hey, you know, keep going, keep going. And don't get me wrong, there will be some who say, hey, this looks like it's the type. It looks like this is the end of the bull run. I think it's going to start coming down now. But there will be a lot of analysts, and not even just analysts. You just get people on X and stuff who think they're experts, and they just think, oh no, it's only going to go up from here. It's never going down. And they're completely wrong. They're just caught up in the hype. And, you know, they'll be making you think that these things are definitely accurate. No one knows for sure. That's just the truth of the matter. And so when you're seeing all this euphoria, it's very easy to get caught up in the moment. It's very easy to get caught up in the hype of it all and thinking, like, how is this going to go down now? Like, we were up so high. Like, how is this ever going to come crumbling down? And all I will say is, if we go with history, it always does. The bubble pops eventually, right? Like, it's took us 4 years to get to this position, right? So just think of all the things that you felt in those 4 years to get to here. If history is to repeat, which it generally does, the bubble will pop and then we'll go straight back down into a bear market again. That's what I would anticipate, because that's generally what happens. Now, things could be a little bit different because of the Trump administration, him being pro-crypto and things like that, doing very positive things for crypto. That's very possible, but we don't know. Again, we're in the unknown. That's the whole point of what I'm making here. And so I want to just show you another post here. And we've got here a guy called Jake Gordon, and he's basically showing you his profit, and he's got $376,000 in HBAR. And so this is my point that I want to get to here, right? Let's just bump that up to, let's just say we bump it up to $800,000, right? Let's just say HBAR goes a bit higher, and let's say he gets to $800,000, right? Now, he could be in a position where for him, you know, that's nearly $1 million, right? He could be very close to thinking, like, this is incredibly life-changing for me. Like, this could really, you know, change my life completely. Like, you know, really, really do great things for me. But he could be on the other end, be thinking, hey, you know, I've got these analysts telling me that the bull run's not done and everything's going to keep going and stuff like that. And so we could keep holding, right? Now, let's say that $800,000 was the top of HBAR's price in terms of his reward, right? In terms of his profit. Now, let's say it starts to dip. So let's say it goes down to let's just say it goes down to like $700,000. The problem that happens there is you think, you know what? I'm going to wait a bit. It's going to come back up. It's just a bit of consolidation. Let me wait because I want to make the 800,000 now because that's what I've seen. It continues to drop. It's now gone down to, let's just say, $500,000. No, I can't sell at this price because it was, you know, it was $800,000 at one point. Like, I can't sell for that now. I've seen those kind of prices. I've got to wait for that. And eventually the price has completely popped and you're back to where you started and you're in a bear market. Do you see what I'm saying? And so this is where, you know, when it comes to in terms of like, don't sell too early, I can kind of understand that now because a lot of people are in agreement that we think there's, you know, further to go in terms of the bull run. But like, ultimately, this is a very difficult conversation because, you know, we don't know where it's going to end. We don't know what HBAR is ultimately going to get to. And so this is where you've kind of got to make a decision of when you're looking at your profit, what's the right decision for you? Right? Like if you was looking at, like if you was in Jake Gordon's position right now and you was literally sitting on $376,000, is that life changing enough for you to say, hey, I don't care if it goes higher. This money can literally drastically improve my life, you know? Or do you think, hey, I want more? But you know, you've got to be careful here with like fear and greed, right? Because greed can take over because you could be sitting on, again, like I say, 800,000 and you could be thinking, oh yeah, I've got this, but I want it to go higher. I believe it's going to go higher. And you could be completely wrong. So that's when greed is, you know, kind of overriding your emotions and overriding your decisions. And then you might completely regret it. You know, like there's someone who I've seen before, who talks about how they had $600,000 in the last bull run that they could have took. And I think they only took like a small percentage out. I think it was like $50,000 or maybe $100,000, and they kept the rest because they wanted to see how high it was going to go. And they lost all that money because he went into a bear market. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't sell, so it's not like he like sold at a massive loss and can't get back in. He's still got those cryptos for this bull run. But the point is, he's missed a whole cycle of when he could have made profit, right? Because let's just say, for example, he sold that 600,000 in the previous cycle, right? The previous bull run. Okay, he's now got his life-changing wealth, right? And the market plummeted, right? It went into a bear market. So during that bear market for 4 years, he could have just kept some money to the side. Let's just say, okay, he's made $600,000. He could say, hey, I'm going to keep $100,000 in crypto and I'm going to reinvest that back into crypto during this bear market. Do you see what I'm saying? So he could have possibly like brought back all of his positions again, ready for this bull run. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is why I'm saying be careful, because you might think, oh, okay, I've missed out this time. But believe me, you're going to kick yourself if you don't sell and you miss the whole bull run altogether. You really are going to kick yourself, because at the end of the day, yes, you could say like, you'll wait for the next bull run, but you don't know how long you're going to be waiting. It's very possible you'll be waiting 4 years. And nobody wants that, right? You don't want to be sitting there for another 4 years knowing that you had profit that you could have done to change your life there and then, but now you've got to wait another 4 years to be in that position. And if you sell now and get back in, it's very possible that you could, easily, double, triple your money because you've made profit and then you're going to reinvest to get more profit, right? So look, as I say, I'm not here telling you what to do, because this is your decision that you've got to make. And this is what I'm saying. It's very subjective. Like when they say don't sell too early, obviously, during the bear market, yeah, I would say don't sell too early. Like, in that point when nothing's taken off, yeah, because you're in a bear market. But when you're in a bull run, like when HBAR gets to new all-time high territory, like you've got to make a decision from that point as to, is it right to sell for you? And that is subjective, right? Like you've got to look at that money that you're looking at on your screen and thinking, is this the right move for me? Is this going to be life-changing for me enough that I don't care how much higher it goes, because this is going to change my life dramatically. And that's only a decision that you guys can make. So this isn't me telling you what to do. It's just giving you this information because I've seen market psychology. I've been there. I've experienced it myself. Like I'm speaking also from experience. Like I get how all this works because I've been here. So, just know that you've got to be careful with this kind of stuff, because it's very easy for these thoughts to override, your general thought process. Like if you have a plan saying I'm going to sell at this price, when you see that price and you're in a bull run and everybody's still getting all hyped and saying it's going to go further, your plan starts to fall apart because you're like, yeah, but it could go higher. It could go higher. And you keep saying that until eventually it's too late, right? But it's like, it's hard because you say it could go higher, then it could go higher. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. And that's why having a plan and trying to accept whatever comes after that, I will deal with, because I've made my life changing wealth. That will make it a bit easier for you to accept, right? So yeah, I just thought to touch on this because it is a very good conversation, and it is very hard. It's very nuanced, right? And it is very subjective to the person. So you've got to make that decision for you guys. But just know, like, in terms of saying like, don't sell too early, that's subjective as well. Like, because, if this guy sells with $376,000, even though it might be early in the grand scheme of things, he might be like, hey, like the amount of things I've done with that money, I'm happy. I don't care that it's gone higher, right? Like I've changed my life and I wanted that now. So I'm happy with that. So again, it is a subjective thing, right? That's what I'm just trying to make you guys understand. All right, but best of luck for you guys, because obviously we are in this bull run, and the main thing is I want you guys to do well. So best of luck to you. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.